Hello, it's Jeffrey with Real Nifty Vintage, and today I will be doing my top 10 Etsy sales. So I have been selling on Etsy since August of 2016 and have sold over 2,300 individual vintage items. So these will be my top 10 most profitable sales. All right, now the first item up. We will be going from the least profitable to the most profitable. So this one is number 10. We're starting on the lower end here. Now, this is a really awesome brass fireplace screen. And I picked this up at an antique mall, probably. And I say probably because I bought about 3 of these. 2 of them look just like this one right here, with this sort of Victorian lady on it. And then one of them was of a different kind of a style. I sold all 3, and each one of these sold for about $160 with shipping included. So I do include shipping on everything now, but whenever I started, I didn't do it that way. But for the past year and a half at least, every item that I list has shipping included on Etsy. So with that taken into consideration, I walked away with about $80 to $90 in profit. So you have about a $30 to $40 investment on this screen. That's how much I paid. And then the shipping was the rest of that. So yeah, at $80 to $90, I think that's a pretty good return on the investment on this really cool fireplace screen. And it is all brass. However, I'm not actually sure of the age, so in the description here we have 1900 to 1960 just to keep it safe. But it's very, very cool. So the next item up is these fantastic hanging lights. They are these pendant lights and in the style of Hollywood Regency or mid-century, and they're just super cool. So I actually paid, well, let me tell you what they sold for. They sold for $195 with shipping included, and I paid just $20 for these. It was a fantastic deal that I bought these. They were like a hole in the wall type of a place, and I walked away with about $110 in profit. So this was an outstanding buy. Now, that said, these were a huge pain to ship because they obviously are all glass, as you can see here, frosted glass. So there's a lot of room for error in the packaging of these, and if they arrive broken. But they arrived, look how large they are, see? They arrived just perfect, and I will tell you that they are 18 inches tall each, so they're not small, but they were really cool. And there was wear on them, of course. That's due to age. It's bound to happen, but these were a great pickup. So the next item up are these fantastic Pyrex bowls. These are in the butter print style, and Pyrex used to sell really well for me, and I could actually buy it for pretty good prices, but the last year and a half, 2 years, the market has really developed on these, and every reseller knows it. So I have not been able to get a really good buy of bowls like this. That said, I'm trying to work off memory here, but I am about 90% sure that I paid between $30 and $40 for these bowls right here at my antique mall. So I do have an antique mall where I have a couple booths at and I sell things, but I found another vendor that had these. So I'm pretty sure that's what I paid for them. It was not more than $40. I am strong. I feel more strong about that. Yeah, so I took this picture is very bad. I took this with my old phone and it's very blurry, but even at that, these sold for $175 plus shipping. And I did say that shipping was included, but this was before I did that. So they paid another interesting thing. These were shipped to Australia, where they paid about another $150 to $175 for shipping. Yeah, it was a lot. So with what I paid and the total price, I walked away with about $135 in profit on these bowls. So that is number 3, these awesome Pyrex bowls. And I staged them a little bit fun with this vintage bread box too in this photo. I do that a little bit more on things that are very expensive. Okay, the next item up is this awesome Carnival Glass Bullseye Vase. This is number 4, and it is, well, I said I was working backwards, so my numbers are all messed up, but this is the 4th item that I'm showing you today, and it sold for $195 with shipping included. So this was a great find. I picked this up at Goodwill. It was in the glass case, which you might think that, oh, if it's in a glass case and that's good, you know, Goodwill, they think that it's going to be worth a lot of money. Sometimes that's true, but they only had it priced for $6. There was a little flea bite right here, right there, and one tiny nick right down there. But it sold, like I said, for $195 with shipping included. I paid $6 for it, and the shipping was not very much. It was like $10. So I walked away with about $170 of profit on this. Very cool Carnival glass vase. Definitely a great find, and it measures about 12 inches tall. Next up, we've got another set of Pyrex. So these are very cool. It's these covered casserole dish Pyrex and the pink butter print. The butter print pattern is very popular among collectors, and even more so whenever it's in this pink or turquoise coloration, as we saw in the other mixing bowls. That was also butter print, but they were the solid blue with the white. So again, my pictures are not fantastic, but this sold for $225, and I paid $30 for these at an auction. I was surprised to get them for that cheap, but yeah, this was a couple years ago again, so I guess there wasn't a lot of resellers or people on the lookout for this, and I was able to really do well with these. So looking at my numbers here, that's $180 worth of profit on these 2 casseroles. And they were in really great shape for the most part. I don't know if there was, looking for chips in the photos here. No, I did detail a lot on here. One small brown area, the lids are chip free, minor hairline scratches from being stacked on the lids. Okay, so the glass that you can't really tell, but yeah, so these showed a little bit of wear. They were not absolutely pristine, and they were a great money maker. This next item up, this was a really fun item to deal with. It was not easy, but I bought this at a flea market, and it sold for $255, and I paid about $30 for it. So whenever I purchased it, I cannot remember if they had it plugged in, or I'm thinking they might have, but it was filled with oil in this bottom basin here. That's where you can fill it up with this, I guess it's called mineral oil. Let me see if I wrote it on here. To operate. I went a little ham on here, putting things. Mineral oil, that's right. So I filled it up with mineral oil. I had to buy that. It wasn't expensive. And I detailed it immensely. I cleaned all the poles. I completely made sure that it was operable and in great shape. So for that, it sold for $255, but it was a lot to deal with, and the shipping on it was not easy. It's a very awkward thing. It's 30 inches tall, 10.5 inches wide, so it takes a specific kind of a box. And as you can see here, there's this fish line that runs like down it, and then the oil drips down the fish line. So it's very cool. And the buyer actually wrote a really great review on this. They were super happy to get it. So that said, I walked away with about $190 in profit. Maybe more like $180 after you consider purchasing the mineral oil and doing the testing and everything. But yeah, it's a very cool piece. The next item up is a super awesome mid-century aluminum tree. So this one is different because it's actually not just aluminum silver, it's green. And you can see the sprayed on green color here. And it's called a Pom Pom tree. The pom pom is due to the ends right here where they sort of flare out like a pom pom. And I think I actually used this tree 1 year, but then I I sold it once I found just a straight silver tree without any green on it. This tree here sold for $325, but I did pay up for it. I paid $80 for this at an auction. So I think that was a great price, and I would say $80 was the cheapest I found a ceramic aluminum tree, but I have found one cheaper. I have the tree that I currently own right now and use, which I'm actually not sure how much I paid for that one, but I do know for sure that I bought one for $50 and I gifted it to Barb. So very awesome. It comes with a stand and everything. The next item up is a very, very cool piece, and I was not sure what it was going to do, but after a little research I found out that it was something. So this was an estate sale find, and I paid $10 for it. Took a chance on it. I bought it because the form factor alone was very cool. It is made of crystal. It's by Dom. It's a just a very awesome big piece, and it was let me show you here. Well, 7.5 pounds, very heavy, and 16.25 inches tall. So it does have some height on it. It's bulky, it's heavy, and it did take me a while to ship. And it sold for $300 with shipping included. And like I said, I paid $10. The shipping was not easy. The shipping was about $50, and it took me a good while, maybe 20 minutes to 30 minutes, to make sure that it was supported well in the center of the box, because the heavier the item, the more chances that it will, you know, tossle loose and it'll crush any sort of filler material that you put in there, especially what I use, which is crushed paper. But I believe I actually double boxed this one right here, which is what I would recommend for something like this. A very awesome piece. Like I said, it's crystal. It's just beautiful, and it is signed right here. It says Dom, France. So that was a very cool pickup. All right, so this item here was a semi-recent pickup at an antique mall, and I didn't know for sure if I wanted to do it. I saw that the price tag on it was only $30, and that was a great price. My hang-up was just the size of it. So this is 4 feet wide, like this, side by side, and 3 feet tall. So it's not small. And I really thought about it. It did have a lot of weight to it, but I knew that there was good money in it still. But it's really pretty, and it's embellished with mother of pearl is what I think it is, and it has all these little peacocks on it. Let me slide through closer. It's very, very nice. Very cool. Well, it ended up selling for $339. Like I said, I paid $30 for it, and the shipping was a good chunk of money. So I walked away with $250 profit. That said, I had to make the box for this, so it did take me maybe 45 minutes in total time to box this up. So it had a little wear on some of the corners, and it did use quite a bit of bubble wrap too. So what I did for each of these, in case you're wondering how I shipped it, I wrapped each one of these in bubble wrap. I just did it diagonally down, taped it up with the bubble wrap, then I stacked them all on top of each other, and then I took a very large box and cut it apart so that it's no longer a box and just one big flat sheet of cardboard. And then I essentially just rolled it up in the cardboard. You know, the stacked section, I just sat on there and then I sort of rolled it along. So it was a very form-fitting box, and I think it was double-walled, so it was very secure. But yes, and then in case you're wondering, these brackets, I unscrewed one of the screws so that it would fall down behind it and not be sticking up, and then I just put the screw back in it. So yes, it was pretty simple after it was considered, and I'm glad that I did it. Now the last item up is right here. Awesome, awesome McKee sailboat pattern refrigerator dishes. I would imagine that they're refrigerator dishes, but you could use just any kind of storage with these. They're from the 30s, Very cool. I bought these at an auction, and I'm so glad that I stayed for the auction because they only ended up selling for $30. Thought that was a fantastic price, and I sold them for $395. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye-bye.